Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, the rain has finally come. They've been warning us about it. We had a little bit of rain the other day. Actually, it was a lot of rain in a short amount of time. It's just the bottom fell out of nowhere. Wasn't even really expecting it. And then it poured and poured and poured for a short amount of time. But now they're saying for the next, 36 hours or so, maybe longer, 48 hours, it's supposed to just kind of rain another couple of inches. So it's that time of the year. And for those of us that kind of need the rain because we grow things, we're not complaining about it. I'm sure all of you have seen this, seen what's going on in New York. The governor has called up 1,000 National Guard and a bunch of state troopers to be deployed in the subway systems in New York. They're doing this, they say, because the crime has gotten so bad. And that's interesting because it wasn't that long ago that New York was bragging about how safe of a city. That was the safest big city in the world. And then now we have this. Now, no one is very openly saying that it, at least from an official position, that this is because of all the illegals that have poured into New York. But I'd say that it's in large part due to that, and also that just society's breaking down. I've been talking about that for a while. Society's breaking down, and we're seeing the results of it. We're seeing how people they've lost their minds, the drug use, their brains have been fragmented and fractionated so much because of all of the short little TikToks and everything else that's been put out there, and the chemicals in their foods, and all this other stuff that's being pushed, this woke left narrative. And you add that with a whole bunch of illegals that have no understanding of rights, no respect for the people around them, and it's just a powder keg waiting to go off, and it's kind of starting to go off in the big cities. LA is reporting and warning people that to be careful on the streets, that the amounts of assaults and other violent crimes on the rise. And New York, of course, they're now deploying armed National Guard in the subways. Now, it's interesting. If you look at a picture here, you can see them there with their M4s, which it's a militarized version of an AR-15. They're not the same weapon, of course. One's select fire and one's semi-auto, but you get it's the similar enough weapon. And it's interesting because Joe Biden says that there's no place in the streets of America that these are weapons of war, and they don't belong in the streets of America, and that they're not good for personal defense. But yet here they are in the streets of America defending Americans. I thought that was kind of interesting. It's just a side note, but no, we're seeing what I said. My goodness, it was just a few days ago. I said that it's just about ready to happen. We're just about ready to go over the edge. And I think we're starting to see that. We're starting to see what hundreds of thousands of illegals coming into this country a month is doing. We're starting to see how the breakdown of our society looks, where we, very 1984-ish, some kind of dystopian movie where you're going into the subways and, almost like out of some type of Nazi Germany looking kind of thing, where we've got, and I'm not knocking any of the highway patrolmen or the soldiers that are there. I'm just saying that the optics, you've got, armed military in the subways as people are trying to get on. Now, I understand that the flip side is hopefully it's protecting people. Hopefully that there are much less violent crimes happening because of this. But why was it allowed to get to this point? Why have we allowed our society to fall apart to this point? Why has New York, why have they allowed it? Well, because they're a bunch of woke lefties. And if you think for a minute that this happened because the people in charge were like, oh my goodness, what happened? What happened? We all of a sudden, we have all of this, uncontrolled crime and violence. What happened? We've got to do something about it. I'm sure it was much more like, yes, we've finally gotten to the point now that we can enact plan whatever and deploy the armed military into the streets of America. That's probably more in line with what went on. Could be wrong. I don't think that this is just going to stop at this place in New York. I don't. I could be totally wrong, but I think that it's almost like we're looking into the peep into the looking glass of the future, of what America has in store for it. The Biden administration has admitted to flying from Mexico nearly 500,000, probably more than that. But they've admitted to 320,000 people that they have flown on on commercial airlines into the United States. They didn't even have to cross the border. They did it for, well, it's safer that way. It cuts down on the congestion at the border. Things just get really congested down there with the 300,000+ people coming through there a month. And so to alleviate that, we're just going to grab them in Mexico, allow them to get on a plane in Mexico and just fly in anywhere they want in the United States. I mean, they don't have paperwork. They're not getting checked. Nothing like that. I mean, you're going through more checks just boarding an airplane in the United States on a domestic flight than what these people are being, checked when they come across the border or fly in or anything like that. And America just sits asleep at it because we've allowed it. And now that it's gotten to the point that more and more people are waking up, there are people that want it stopped. There's people that are speaking out about it. But is it too little too late? Is it even a solvable problem at this point? With the amount and the dramatic influx? Every month it's going up. For the last, 3-4 months, they tell us every month it's a new record set with the amount of people that's come across the border. I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know how to convey the message any differently. I don't know how to talk about this from almost a news standpoint. At this point, for me, it's time to get ready. It's time to, lock and load. It's time to batten down the hatches, any other cliche that you can come to think of. Because, we're talking on the low end, 7.5 million since the Biden administration started. And on the high end, probably anywhere in the numbers of 15 to 20 million. So 7.5 to 15 to 20 million, any one of those numbers and anything in between is really, really bad. There's most of the major cities right now, Chicago, New York, LA, several others, are all saying that they're on the verge of bankruptcy, that the city themselves is on the verge of bankruptcy. And the reason that they're citing it is because they're trying to take care of all these illegals that are coming in. New York is also trying to pass a law that all these illegals can get jobs with the state. They say they have tens of thousands of jobs that need to be filled. And they just said, well, hey, we've got all these illegals, let's hire them. But of course, to get a job with any state government, you typically have to go, it's a little bit more hoops to jump through than just getting a job at McDonald's. Some background checks and history, work history, life history. And so the law is basically if you're illegal, you don't need any of that. You don't need to show that you've, your background. You don't need to show that you went to high school or college or anything like that. If you have a pulse and it's going to look good with the DEI, quota, then we'll hire you. So it's bad enough that New York needs to put armed military in the streets of New York to protect New York citizens from the illegals it's poured in. But at the same hand, we're going to hire them to work in the government. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know. I'm not. It's not that I'm tired of talking about this. I'm tired of talking about this from the standpoint that there's not really anything we can do about it. Like we're handcuffed We're just there's nothing that we can do to stop this. Whatever's going on at the Texas border there in Eagle Pass seems to, at least for the moment, kind of fizzled out. A few weeks ago, everyone thought, Civil War 2.0 was about ready to break out. Now no one talks about it. I don't know. I don't know that there's a solution, an actual real solution. I know that there's ideas out there. I know that all of you are going to say, "Oh, we got to do this." No, I'm talking about things that will actually happen and things that would actually work. There isn't at this point. So I don't know. All we have to do is we have to get serious about stocking up. We have to get serious about prepping. We have to get serious about being self-sufficient. We need to really get serious about our defense. All of that, food, water, brass, lead, all that kind of stuff. If as a side note, and I know you don't like this, but as a side note, if you're needing to stock up on some food, there's a pretty good sale right now on some freeze-dried Traveler soup. It's in a big number 10 can. I'll post a link to it for you. It's like 38% off. I think it's $16 for a big can of freeze-dried soup. Pretty good stuff. I've tried it before. But so that helps out your preps. This is something that's got like a 20-year shelf life. It just sits there, and when you need it, all you do is add some boiling water. But what else are we supposed to do? This is again where I say that our best bet is to get out of these cities, get out of these concentrated population areas. Is that going to fix everything? Of course not. But the further away you are from people, the less people there are around you. Well, that's just a mathematical, thing. It's less people that's going to be a problem, right? Plus, when you get out away from people into the rural life, then you're able to really be self-sufficient. You're more likely to find people like yourself around you. And you're able to kind of, fortify yourself and come up with a real plan of how to survive what's coming. Because there's so many different things happening that that at least one or two of them is going to happen. I mean, it's just the odds are. And if all of this other stuff, whether it's, World War III, Russia, China, Taiwan, Middle East, banking collapse, dollar collapse, all these other things that most likely will happen, but they still possibly may not happen. Well, guess what? What is happening? It's not whether or not it will happen. It is happening. And that's the hundreds of thousands of illegals that are pouring across this border every month. That is happening, and that is going to take us down. It is destroying us right now. Crimes, disease, breakdown of our system, overburdening the system. All of this stuff is happening right here in American streets. And if there's nothing else that's going on that you care about, that's one you should care about. That's one that you should be prepping up. You should be stocking up for this one. Because it's probably the most critical, serious thing of our time and maybe possibly of all American history. We're watching millions and millions a year pouring into this country. We have no clue where they're from. We have no clue their intentions. We have no clue what they're bringing here, what they're going to do here, anything. And many of them are coming here to do harm. Many of them do come here and have zero respect or care for the United States. They're not interested in being American. They're interested in draining the system and get what they can out of it. And a lot of times, the people that are coming here are leaving other countries because they're criminals. There's been many people from other countries. There was someone from the Middle East a couple of years ago talking about that. There was someone else from, I can't remember exactly where. I probably shouldn't say it because I can't remember. I can't back it up. But I think it was some South American country, and they were commenting that all these people that are coming to the American border and crossing, the vast majority of them are criminals. It's not like we're getting the best of Brazil or the best of Honduras or the best of, Guatemala or Ghana or Kenya or anything like that. We're not getting the ones that are trying to become doctors and they're coming here illegally. We're getting the ones that are druggies and drug dealers and rapists and gun traffickers and all this kind of stuff. That's the ones that we're getting in large part. Now, there are some good people, but there's a lot of those coming across. And it's going to destroy this nation. It is destroying this nation. And as scary as that sounds and as sad as that sounds, and it is, we just need to push our emotions aside for at least a while and focus on getting ready. Because this problem isn't going away. Even if that border shut down solid today, there's too many here already. It's not going away. You need to get ready, folks. You need to be getting your houses in order, preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.